The truth is, taking action is the key to growth. Without action, nothing changes. You can have the best ideas, the most detailed plans, and the clearest vision, but without the courage to take that first step, all of those things remain nothing more than wishes. Action is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. The moment you take action, you begin a process of growth that cannot happen by simply thinking or planning. It's through doing, through stepping outside your comfort zone, that you start to truly develop the skills, resilience, and understanding necessary to achieve your goals. The first step, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect. Once you begin, momentum starts to build, and that momentum carries you forward. Each action you take, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to your goal. And with each step, you learn and adapt. You begin to see the world differently, uncover new opportunities, and develop new strategies. Action doesn't just move you toward your goal, it teaches you how to get there, even when the path is unclear. It's important to understand that growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. Growth comes from experiencing the world, engaging with challenges, and overcoming obstacles. If you wait for everything to be perfect, if you wait for the ideal conditions or for the right time, you may never start. And without starting, there is no possibility for growth. If you stand still, you stagnate. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready, and neither should you. The longer you wait, the more you risk falling behind, while others take action, learn, and improve themselves. The gap between where you are and where you want to be grows wider each time you hesitate. When you take action, you don't just move toward your goals, you also discover things about yourself. Every decision you make, every risk you take adds to your understanding of what you're capable of. This self-awareness is a crucial part of growth. You begin to see your strengths and weaknesses more clearly, and you can make adjustments along the way. Action isn't just about moving forward in the external world, it's about expanding your internal world, building confidence, and realizing your potential. The more you act, the more you realize that you are capable of achieving more than you initially thought possible. Growth doesn't just come from success, it also comes from failure. When you take action, you open yourself up to the possibility of failure, but failure is not something to be feared. Failure is an essential part of the learning process. Each time you fail, you learn valuable lessons that help you move forward with more wisdom, more experience, and a greater understanding of what works and what doesn't. Without failure, there is no real growth. If you always play it safe and never take action, you will never experience the kind of growth that comes from learning, adapting, and persevering through adversity. Every successful person in any field has faced challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. But what sets them apart is their willingness to keep going. They didn't let fear, failure, or doubt stop them. They understood that the key to success was to keep moving forward, even when the way was uncertain. It was through their persistence and their willingness to take action that they built the skills and resilience needed to succeed. You don't learn to succeed by avoiding failure, you learn to succeed by continuing to act, even when things don't go as planned. Another important aspect of growth is the development of habits. Success is built on habits, and habits are formed through consistent action. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to take action, it's about making action a regular part of your routine. When you commit to acting consistently, you create momentum. And that momentum becomes a habit that propels you forward, even when the initial excitement fades. It's the ability to keep showing up, to keep taking small steps, that leads to long-term growth. Habits shape who you are and determine what you accomplish, and they are formed through repeated action. It's also important to recognize that growth is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs along the way. There will be times when progress feels slow, or when setbacks seem to pile up. But the key to growth is not to give up during those times. It's to continue taking action, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Often, the biggest breakthroughs come after the most difficult challenges. It's through those moments of struggle that you learn the most about yourself, your goals, and your capacity to persevere. Action leads to growth because it creates opportunities. When you take action, you open yourself up to new experiences, new knowledge, and new relationships. Every decision you make, every risk you take, brings new possibilities. The more you act, the more you expose yourself to the world around you. You start to see connections, patterns, and solutions that were not visible before. Action creates the space for new opportunities to present themselves. You can't expect to grow by waiting for things to come to you. You have to go out and find them. Growth is an active process. not a passive one. Finally, growth leads to transformation. When you take action, you are not just moving toward a goal, you are changing the person you are along the way. Action is the catalyst for transformation. The more you act, the more you evolve. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Growth is not just about achieving external success, it's about becoming the best version of yourself. And that transformation comes through action. So, if you want to grow, you have to start. You have to take action. It doesn't matter if the timing isn't perfect or if you don't feel completely ready. What matters is that you begin. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal, to your growth, and to the person you are meant to become. Action is the key to growth, and growth is the key to everything you want to achieve. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Take action today and start growing. Taking the first step today is one of the most powerful actions you can take. It might seem like a small thing, but it is the foundation for everything that follows. The first step is often the hardest because it requires us to push past the uncertainty, the fear, and the doubt that hold us back. But once that first step is taken, something shifts. The momentum begins and the path ahead becomes clearer. It's not about having everything figured out, and it's not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about acting in the present moment, trusting that the next step will reveal itself once you start moving. The fear of the unknown is one of the biggest reasons why we hesitate to take that first step. We want to be sure of what's going to happen, we want guarantees, and we want to avoid mistakes. But life doesn't work that way. No one ever has all the answers, and no journey is without risks. The truth is, you'll never know exactly how things will unfold, and waiting for that certainty only delays progress. The first step requires trust that even if you don't have it all figured out, the action you take will lead to something valuable, whether it's success or the lessons learned from failure. Taking the first step today means letting go of perfectionism. We often wait for the perfect time, the perfect resources, or the perfect circumstances before we make a move. But the truth is, those conditions will never come. There will always be something else you feel you need to get before you're ready. Perfection is an illusion. Waiting for everything to be ideal before starting only prolongs the process. The reality is, you will never feel 100% ready. The key to moving forward is embracing imperfection, knowing that each step you take brings you closer to your goal, and that you can adjust along the way. Taking that first step is an act of courage, of trusting that you'll figure things out as you go. When you take the first step today, you break the cycle of indecision and inaction. Procrastination is often driven by fear and doubt, fear of failure, fear of making the wrong choice, or fear of the unknown. But the longer you wait, the more you reinforce those fears. The more you delay, the harder it becomes to start. Every day that you put off action is another day spent stuck in the same place. By taking that first step today, you break free from the paralysis of indecision and move into a place of possibility. You can't move forward until you start. And the longer you wait, the more you risk missing out on opportunities that are only available if you take action. Taking the first step is also about giving yourself permission to fail. Failure is a natural part of any journey. It's something we all face, no matter how successful we become. But we often fear failure to the point that we never try at all. Taking the first step today means you're accepting the possibility of failure, but you're also embracing the growth that comes from it. Every failure is a learning experience. Every setback is a lesson in what works and what doesn't. When you take that first step, you give yourself the chance to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Without taking that step, you can't experience the growth that only comes from doing, from trying, from stepping outside your comfort zone. Once you take the first step, you create momentum. Momentum is powerful. It's the force that keeps you moving forward, even when obstacles arise. When you start, you begin to build confidence. You start to see that you're capable of more than you thought. The next step doesn't feel as daunting because you've already proven to yourself that you can take action. The more you act, the easier it becomes to keep going. Momentum helps you push through the challenges and setbacks that are inevitable on any journey. It's the result of consistent action, and it all starts with that first step. Taking the first step today also opens you up to new possibilities. The more you engage with life, the more opportunities you will encounter. Taking action invites new experiences, new people, and new ideas into your life. When you stay on the sidelines, waiting for the right moment, you miss the connections, the growth, and the opportunities that come from being in motion. By taking the first step today, you open yourself to the unknown, and unknown that, while uncertain, is full of potential. Every decision you make, every action you take, leads to new possibilities. You can't predict what will happen, but you can be sure that if you don't take the first step, you won't have any chance to experience the potential that lies ahead. There's also a sense of satisfaction that comes from simply taking action. When you've been stuck in indecision, waiting for things to change or for the perfect time to act, you feel frustrated and unproductive. But once you take the first step, no matter how small, you begin to feel a sense of accomplishment. You're moving forward. You're making progress. You've shifted from passive waiting to active doing, and that shift alone can create a sense of empowerment and pride. You've shown yourself that you are capable of taking action, and that feeling of empowerment is the fuel that keeps you going. Taking the first step today doesn't mean that you have to have everything planned out. You don't need all the answers, and you don't need to know exactly how everything will unfold. What matters is that you begin. Once you take that step, the next one will become clearer, and the next, and the next. It's through consistent action that things fall into place. It's through doing that we discover what works and what doesn't. The first step is just the beginning, but it's the most important part of the journey. By starting today, you set yourself on a path of growth, learning, and transformation. There will always be reasons to wait. There will always be doubts, fears, and uncertainties. But none of those reasons will ever be as powerful as the decision to take that first step. Take it today. Take the leap. The path may not be clear, but it will unfold one step at a time. And with every step you take, you grow, learn, and move closer to the life you want to create. So take the first step today. Your future self will thank you. Life is constantly moving forward, whether you're ready or not. The world doesn't stop for you to catch up, and the opportunities you're waiting for don't pause until the time is right. The clock keeps ticking, and every moment you spend waiting for the perfect conditions is a moment you lose. That's the reality of life. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause to allow you to catch your breath or wait for everything to align. Life moves, and the only way to keep up with it is to take action. We often think that life will slow down when the time is right, when we've figured things out, when we have the resources or confidence we need to take that next step. But the truth is, the longer we wait, the more we fall behind. The world doesn't pause to give us a chance to get everything in order. The universe isn't waiting for us to feel prepared. It's moving ahead, and so must we. If you're always waiting for the right time, you may find that it never comes. Life doesn't align itself for your convenience. No one is going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you, now's the perfect moment to take that leap. Now's the time to make that change. The world is full of distractions, and if you spend your time waiting for everything to be perfect, you'll find yourself stuck, watching as others take the chances you're afraid to seize. Think about it, the moment you wait for may never materialize. There's no perfect window of time that's going to come and open up opportunities in your favor. Life doesn't operate on your schedule. It doesn't care about your doubts, your insecurities, or your hesitations. It moves with or without you. And the longer you stand still, the further you'll be from where you want to be. We often believe that we need to feel ready or that everything has to be just right before we take action. But life doesn't work that way. Waiting for the right time means you're waiting for circumstances to change, but they never will on their own. The only way to change your circumstances is by changing your actions. If you keep waiting, you'll be waiting forever, because there's no magical moment when everything will come together in a way that makes things easy. Success, growth, and opportunity are created by taking action, not by waiting for things to be perfect. You've probably heard the expression, don't wait for the perfect moment, take the moment and make it perfect. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about deciding to act, despite feeling unprepared, uncertain, or overwhelmed. The truth is, there is no such thing as a perfect time. If you're waiting for everything to align perfectly, you're going to be waiting for a long time. Perfection is an illusion. Every step you take will come with challenges, and every new endeavor will have unknowns. But it's through taking action, in spite of those unknowns, that you learn, grow, and create the life you want. The best time to act is not when you feel everything is in place. It's when you decide that the possibility of something better is worth stepping into the unknown. The longer you wait, the more you risk losing, not just in terms of opportunities, but in terms of personal growth. You may miss the chance to learn from mistakes, to build resilience, or to gain the experiences that will shape who you become. Without action, you stay stagnant, and stagnation leads to frustration and regret. And let's be clear, no one ever feels completely ready. Even the most successful individuals didn't have everything figured out when they began. They took risks. They acted despite their fears. They learned as they went. They didn't wait for life to be perfect before taking the plunge. They made their own opportunities by taking the first step, even when they didn't have all the answers. They understood that the only way to move forward was to take action, regardless of whether the timing was perfect or not. So, if you're waiting for life to slow down, or for everything to fall into place, you're going to be waiting forever. The truth is, life is always in motion. The world is constantly changing, and the only way to stay in step with it is to take action. If you want to create something meaningful, something extraordinary, you have to start now. Don't wait for the world to slow down and give you time to catch up. Life won't wait for you, and it won't stop for you. The power to change your life, to take control of your future, lies within you. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. You need to take action and trust that the next step will reveal itself once you start moving. The right time to act is now. Don't wait for the perfect moment to arrive, because it's never going to be perfect. Life keeps moving forward, and so should you. Stop waiting for the ideal moment. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Make today the day you start moving forward. The right time is always right now. Life won't stop for you, so don't wait for it. Act now. Take that first step, and keep moving toward the life you want to create. Every action you take brings you one step closer to the future you've always dreamed of. Greatness is often viewed as something reserved for a select few, a product of talent, timing, or fortune. However, what most people fail to realize is that greatness doesn't come from waiting. It comes from taking action. While it's easy to assume that one day the stars will align, the perfect conditions will present themselves, and you will feel ready, the truth is that greatness is built through perseverance, effort, and a willingness to step out of your comfort zone long before you feel prepared. When we think about the people who have achieved extraordinary things, we often look at the end results, the success, the accolades, the recognition, but what we don't see are the countless hours of work, the sacrifices, and the moments of uncertainty that led to their achievements. What we don't see are the times they pushed through the discomfort, took risks, and acted despite the fear of failure. These individuals didn't wait for the right moment, they created the right moment by making the decision to act when others were still waiting for the perfect conditions. If you want to achieve anything meaningful, you must be willing to take the first step, even when the path isn't clear. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to have everything in place before we move forward. We convince ourselves that we need more time, more resources, more knowledge, or more confidence. But the reality is that if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll wait forever. Nothing in life is ever guaranteed, and nothing is ever perfectly aligned. You have to start where you are with what you have and figure it out along the way. The idea that you must wait for everything to come together before you take action only leads to missed opportunities. Every day that you postpone action is a day that you are not moving toward your goal. Time doesn't stand still for anyone. As much as you might wish for the ideal circumstances, waiting for them can actually make things harder. The more you put off action, the harder it becomes to start. The more you hesitate, the more self-doubt builds up, and the more daunting the task at hand feels. This is why greatness often eludes people who wait. Waiting only keeps you stuck. It keeps you from taking risks, learning from mistakes, and ultimately growing. It is only by stepping out and taking that first step that you begin to see the opportunities unfold. The first step is the hardest, but once you begin, you build momentum. And momentum is a powerful thing. It propels you forward, allowing you to take on bigger challenges, face more risks, and continue to learn. The more you act, the more capable you become. The more you do, the more you see just how much potential you have. On the other hand, those who wait are never fully prepared for the challenges they face, because no amount of waiting can prepare you for the unknown. The most successful people didn't wait until everything was perfectly aligned. They took action despite not knowing exactly how things would turn out. They trusted the process of doing, knowing that the lessons learned from taking risks and making mistakes were just as valuable as the achievements themselves. They knew that waiting for perfection would only hold them back, and that the real growth came from the experience gained through action. Another thing to consider is that greatness is rarely achieved alone. It's not just about individual effort, but also about collaboration, learning from others, and sharing knowledge. Waiting prevents you from engaging with the world around you, from building connections and seeking help when needed. By taking action, you open the door to new relationships, new ideas, and new opportunities that you would otherwise miss by sitting idle. Success is often about who you meet, who you learn from, and how you adapt to new circumstances. When you act, you begin to interact with the world in ways that bring new ideas and perspectives into your life. It's also important to understand that the road to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of obstacles, detours, and setbacks. These challenges are not a sign that you should turn back, but rather a part of the process. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adapt. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you miss out on the valuable lessons that can only be learned through failure. It's through overcoming adversity that we build resilience, and resilience is one of the key traits that enables greatness. We all have dreams, ambitions, and goals, but the only way to turn those dreams into reality is through consistent, determined action. Waiting for the right moment, the perfect set of conditions, or the ideal circumstances will only leave you stuck in the same place. Greatness doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not the ones who waited for everything to align perfectly. They're the ones who took the leap, took the risk, and made things happen, even when it felt uncomfortable or uncertain. So, if you've been waiting for the right time, waiting for things to be just right before you start, understand that the right time is always now. The moment to take action is always the present. It's never going to feel perfect, but that's part of the process. The more you wait, the more time you waste. If you want to achieve something great, start now with what you have and trust that through action, you'll find your way. Greatness is not found in waiting, it's found in the courage to take that first step and to keep moving forward. We've all heard it before, I'll do it. When the time is right, we tell ourselves that we'll start that project, take that leap, or make that change once the stars align, once we have everything in place. We wait for the perfect moment, when everything will fall into place, when the conditions will be ideal, when we'll feel ready. But here's a truth that's hard to face: there is no right time. The idea that there's a perfect moment is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid stepping out of our comfort zones. Waiting for the right time often keeps us stuck in a cycle of inaction, procrastination, and missed opportunities. The truth is, the right time is never going to magically appear. You'll never have everything figured out. You'll never have all the resources you think you need. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you might end up waiting forever. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you put something off because you were waiting for things to align just right? How many times have you thought to yourself, I'll wait until I'm more prepared, or I'll wait until the circumstances are better? What happens? Time keeps passing, and we remain where we are, stuck in the same place. The dream, the opportunity, the change we desire gets further and further out of reach because we never took action when we had the chance. Life does not wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't stop to give you permission to take that step. The reality is, life is constantly moving forward. If you want to achieve anything, you need to move with it, not wait for it to stop for you. Waiting for the perfect moment only keeps you from moving forward. The longer you wait, the more time you lose. Here's the truth: greatness doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from doing something despite imperfections. Think about some of the most successful people in any field. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect before they started. They didn't wait until they had all the answers, all the resources, or all the confidence they thought they needed. They acted anyway, often with fear and uncertainty, and they figured things out along the way. Every successful person has faced challenges, made mistakes, and experienced setbacks. But they didn't wait for the stars to align. They moved forward with what they had, and they created their own right time. Waiting for perfection is an illusion. You might think you need to wait until you're fully prepared, but the reality is that you'll never feel fully prepared. Preparation is important, but there's only so much you can do before you have to take the leap. It's through taking action, even when you don't feel ready, that you start learning and growing. No amount of planning can substitute for the lessons that come from actually doing the work. The growth, the understanding, and the results come when you push past your fears, doubts, and the notion that everything has to be perfect before you begin. Taking action, even when things aren't perfect, is what leads to growth. It's not about waiting for everything to be right. It's about stepping into the unknown and learning as you go. No one starts out perfect. Everyone has to take that first step, often without knowing exactly where it will lead. But once you start moving, you build momentum, and that momentum is what helps you progress. It's easy to get caught in the trap of waiting for the right time, but this mindset only leads to missed opportunities. If you're always waiting for the perfect moment, you might find yourself looking back one day, realizing how much time you've wasted. The world is full of opportunities, but they don't wait for you to feel ready. They come and go. And if you're not taking action, you might miss them. So what are you waiting for? What is holding you back from taking that first step? Fear? Doubt? The belief that you don't have everything you need? These are all normal, but they should not stop you from moving forward. The most successful people didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They took risks, they failed, they learned, and they kept going. They built their success by taking action, not by waiting for the right time. It's time to stop waiting. The right time is now. You will never feel completely ready, and the conditions will never be perfect. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't act. Take the first step, no matter how small it may seem. Start with what you have, where you are, and keep moving forward. Action leads to progress. Every step you take, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to your goal. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. The time to act is now, and it always has been. The moment you take action is the moment you create your own right time. We've all been there, haven't we? That nagging feeling that the right time will eventually come. The idea that if we just wait long enough, everything will fall into place. The conditions will be perfect, and we'll feel fully prepared to take the leap. So we tell ourselves, I'll start when the time is right, but here's the hard truth. There is no right time. The concept of waiting for the perfect moment is one of the most deceptive traps we set for ourselves. It's an excuse, a shield we use to avoid discomfort, uncertainty, and the fear of failure. In reality, the more we wait, the more we fall into a cycle of procrastination that only reinforces itself. The longer you postpone taking action, the harder it becomes to start. It's as though the weight of your unmade decision grows heavier with time. The idea of starting becomes more daunting as you push it further into the future. What initially seemed like a simple task becomes overwhelming, and before you know it, you've been waiting for weeks, months, or even years. Procrastination feeds on fear and doubt. And when we delay taking action, we only deepen these feelings. The longer we wait, the more we question our abilities. We become more convinced that we aren't prepared enough or capable enough to succeed. But the longer you wait, the more opportunity slips away. The world moves forward, and if you don't take action, you risk missing out on the opportunities that come with it. It's important to recognize that waiting for the right time is a form of avoidance. It's a way to delay the discomfort of starting something new, of stepping into the unknown. But here's the catch: you will never feel completely ready. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and uncertainties along the way. That's part of the process. But the only way to overcome them is by taking that first step, however imperfect it may seem. Procrastination might feel like a comfortable place to be, but it doesn't move you forward. It holds you in a state of stagnation, trapping you in a cycle of doubt and inaction. Every time you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, you're giving yourself permission to stay in that cycle a little longer. Each day you wait, you're telling yourself that you aren't capable yet. But what if I told you that the only way to build capability is by taking action, not by waiting? When we put things off, we miss out on the lessons that come with doing. We can plan, prepare, and research as much as we want, but nothing will teach us more than the experience gained through action. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings new insights, new skills, and new opportunities for growth. Waiting for the perfect moment doesn't allow for this growth. It only keeps us stuck in the land of what if. The people who make the most progress are the ones who act in spite of uncertainty. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They start with what they have, where they are, and figure it out along the way. They take risks, They make mistakes. They learn. But most importantly, they keep going. It's through consistent action, even when conditions aren't ideal, that they build momentum. They don't sit around waiting for everything to align perfectly. They understand that the act of starting is the key to moving forward. The truth is, no one ever feels truly ready. Everyone faces fear, doubt, and uncertainty at some point, no matter how much experience they have. The difference is that some people take the first step anyway. They make the decision to act, even when they don't have all the answers. They trust that by taking that first step, they'll figure things out as they go. Waiting for the perfect conditions is a recipe for missed opportunities. Life moves forward whether you're ready or not. If you spend your life waiting for everything to be perfect, you'll never take action. You'll always be looking for a better time, a better circumstance, a better opportunity to begin. But that perfect time will never come. Life doesn't stop to give you a chance to catch up. You have to jump in, even if it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is part of the process. It's a signal that you're growing, that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and that you're moving closer to the life you want. So what are you waiting for? What is holding you back from taking that first step? If fear, doubt, or uncertainty is keeping you stuck, remember that these feelings are a natural part of the journey. You don't have to wait for them to disappear. Instead, take action in spite of them. Move forward with the knowledge that you will learn as you go. The most successful people aren't those who waited for everything to be perfect. They're the ones who took action, made mistakes, and learned from them. The right time is not out there somewhere. It's not waiting for you to feel ready. The right time is now. The only way to create the future you want is to start today, even if it's just a small step. Action leads to progress, and progress leads to growth. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Start with what you have and where you are. Take that first step and let the momentum carry you forward. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you start moving toward your dreams.